Welcome back to STL TV Live. I'm Sarah Bernard, and Joel P.E. King is here with me. We've been talking about your new play, Real Life, musical.
Yes.
It's going to be at the Grandel, opening on November 29th.
Yes.
And what a great story behind the writing of it.
Yeah.
Now, who's the audience for this musical?
I would say this is definitely one of those shows. I mean, it's something for everyone. I mean, we have the youth. I think our youngest character in this 10 years old.
Okay.
And we have the mothers that are part of the show. I would say probably range up to age 65. So it's who would enjoy watching? I mean, what's the appropriate bottom age? You know, the appropriate bottom age, I would say, you know, middle school, high school, just because of the lesson that's learned, and especially with everything that's going on in the city. As far as the city living is concerned, I think it's just make that connection.
Yeah.
And then for the older audience, it's wondering why. You know, how and when does it get to that point to where we lose that sense of hope, and how do we get it back on? You know, especially, you know, because generation. When just speaking with my mom, you know what I'm saying, just how things were so different back then, and how it was so much easier to try to talk people into or out of different situations, and now it's like we have to learn a different language to speak, especially with our youth. And how do you get into that? And with the music being so, the style being so versatile, you going from your classical, where you feel like you're in Powell Symphony Hall, and then next moment you feel like you're at a hip hop concert. You know what I mean? So Real Life is covering all those genres of music.
And you know, one of the things that's great about you as a playwright that I enjoy is that you are not afraid to address the issues going on in our society.
Oh, no.
You, whether it's race or poverty or crime or whatever, you talk about it in your plays, and you address it with society and what's going on. So what's your message with this one for the community, for the St. Louis community?
For the St. Louis community, especially, you know, with St. Louis being the top 10 as far as the crime rate is concerned, and then even like we're making our connection with Chicago as well, and a lot of things that are going on with that. I just encourage the audience to come and be a part of this, and to see what's going on, and to become actively a part, become engaged and active, proactive, and see what more can be done, inclusive of the arts, to start making things change and dissolve a lot of these atrocities that we are experiencing right now, because a lot of it really has to do with just lack of understanding what's going on and how do we create.
So is there a question or a challenge for the audience after seeing the play?
I would say absolutely. I would say, what exactly is your issue? How do you relate with what has transpired in that show? And with the information that was given, how can you connect it to make yourself move forward? Because at the end of the day, it's about self-accountability, you know, and if we don't know how to monitor ourselves or find the tools to help us get back into that rightful space, then, you know, you're in a losing battle. But there are options. There's too many options out there for us to be in that space, to have to feel like we are forced to live in that particular space.
So what's next for Joel King?
Well, I'm actually working with the Grand Center for the first night celebration at the Scottish Rite Center, and then after that I'll be off to New York.
What's happening in New York? Anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, it's a new journey. We'll be working with a new agency out there, but I'm not going to say right now because I have to be out there for the official signing of papers and things like that. And
so agency as you as an actor, or?
As an actor, yeah. I'm going to be getting more of my acting chops going on.
Yeah, you got some going on. I mean, we know about that. You know, you're all over the place. So
I'm happy about it,
Yeah, well, that's great. And what about Real Life? What's next for Real Life?
Real Life, our hope is that we can get more of our community supporters to back us with this particular project. We want to take it to Chicago. We want to take it across the nation, internationally, you know, if at all possible, because it definitely is a message, like I say, it's a message for everyone. And with everything we're experiencing as far as city living is concerned, we address a lot of topics that need, you know, it needs that type of to be engaged in that way.
Yeah, well, good for you for bringing these things to our community. We're so privileged, really, truly, to have you and to have these kinds of shows right here in St. Louis. So don't forget, Grandel Theater, Real Life, opening on November 29th. And we want to thank Joel for coming to keep us informed of all of his great shows and things that you're doing, activities. It's so exciting. And remember, STL TV is on all the major social networks, and following us is a great way to get clued in to all of the great events and organizations around St. Louis. So add us as a friend on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And our channel is streaming live on stltv.net 24 hours a day, so you can even watch without a television. So stay tuned, we'll be back in just a moment.